Ever feel like your staked ETH is just, stuck? It's earning yield, sure, but it can't really move around, maybe jump onto other blockchains for new opportunities.
Yeah, that's a common frustration.
Yeah.
Locked up assets.
Well, today we're diving into StakeStone. They've got this thing called Stone, which is meant to be a liquid ETH token,
Yeah.
supposedly sets those staked assets free.
Exactly. For anyone watching DeFi, that balance between yield and liquidity, it's always been tricky. And now, with so much happening cross-chain, being able to move capital easily is, well, pretty crucial.
Right, and we know you want the insights. Fast. So our mission today is simple. Break down how StakeStone lets you earn yield on ETH and move it across chains without, hopefully, the usual pain points. We're using StakeStone's own documentation as our guide, specifically the bits on stake and mint and unstake and omnichain withdrawal.
Good sources. Straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Okay, let's jump in. How do you actually get this Stone token?
It starts with stake and mint, as they call it. Pretty straightforward, actually. You deposit your ETH into StakeStone. And their system, the smart contract, it immediately mints the equivalent value in Stone tokens and sends them right to your wallet.
Ah, so instantly I have this liquid token, Stone, representing my stake.
You got it. Right away, you've got something liquid that's already set up to potentially earn yield based on the underlying staked ETH.
So my original ETH isn't just sitting idle then. What's happening with it, like behind the curtain?
Right, it's put to work. That ETH gets staked, the usual process in the staked ETH that goes into StakeStone's strategy vault.
Strategy vault. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, and here's where it gets layered. That steth in the vault. It isn't necessarily just sitting there either. It can be deployed again into different restaking protocols or pools.
Oh, okay. Restaking. So like yield on top of yield, potentially.
That's the idea. Trying to maximize the capital efficiency, find more ways for that initial stake to generate returns.
So my ETH is working, and maybe its staked version is working even more side hustles. But the docs mention Stone integrating restaked assets as underlying assets, not being restaked itself. What does that actually mean for me holding Stone?
That's a really key distinction. Your Stone token itself isn't going into a restaking pool. Instead, think of Stone as representing your claim on a share of everything in that strategy vault, the original staked ETH, and any additional yield generated from restaking activities happening within the vault.
I see. So Stone's value reflects all that background activity, but the token itself stays mobile and liquid.
Exactly. It's designed so Stone remains transferable, usable across chains, while its value is underpinned by that basket of potentially restaked assets. Keeps things simpler for the user,
Yeah, that makes sense. Keeps the token itself uncomplicated. So who decides where the underlying ETH goes? Which staking, which restaking pools? Who's running that show?
That falls to their governance system, which they call OPAP, the Decentralized Governance Process.
OPAP.
Yeah, OPAP manages that underlying strategy pool. It decides which strategies the vault uses. This means the approach can change over time, adapt to market conditions, new opportunities.
So potentially more adaptable through community governance, but maybe also slower decisions sometimes, or disagreements.
That's the trade-off with decentralized governance, right? Potential for agility, but also requires coordination. StakeStone does advise checking their portfolio and allocation info for the current strategy details. It's not static.
Got it. So deposit ETH, get liquid Stone. The ETH goes into a vault, gets staked, maybe restaked, managed by OPAP, and Stone reflects that value. Cool. Now moving Stone. It's called an omnichain fungible token, an OFT. What does that really mean for me?
A Omnichain Fungible Token, or OFT. It basically means Stone is built for travel. It's designed using Layer 0 technology.
Layer 0, right, the interoperability protocol.
Exactly. It allows Stone to move pretty seamlessly between different blockchains. And what's interesting is they say they haven't just plugged in standard Layer 0. They've apparently built custom contracts to make it work even better across various chains.
So kind of like having a universal passport for my yield-bearing ETH. I own yield on Ethereum, but maybe I want to use that value on, say, Arbitrum or somewhere else.
That's the promise. Instead of a complex bridging, unstaking, waiting, you could potentially just move your Stone over and use it much faster, keeping that yield exposure intact.
Okay, that cross-chain aspect sounds powerful. Now the flip side, getting my ETH back, unstaking, the docs mention two ways, request and instant. Instant sounds pretty appealing.
It definitely does. The instant withdrawal uses infrastructure from a partner called Native, specifically their PMM liquidity system.
PMM, proactive market maker.
Yeah. Think of it like a liquidity pool designed to be very efficient, almost predicting where liquidity will be needed across different chains to facilitate quick swaps.
And how does that deliver the instant withdrawal, especially cross-chain?
It relies on something they call a buffer pool. StakeStone keeps a stash of ETH ready in Native's lending pool.
Ah, a pre-funded reserve.
Exactly. So if you want to instantly swap your stone on chain A for ETH on chain B, and there's enough ETH in that buffer pool on chain B, the system can just give it to you right away. Single click, cross-chain withdrawal. It's smooth when the buffer's full.
When the buffer's full. Okay, there's the catch. It says it's only available when there is remaining ETH in the buffer pool.
Right. It's fast, it's convenient, but it depends entirely on that buffer pool having enough ETH at that moment on the destination chain, if lots of people try to withdraw instantly at the same time.
The pool could run dry, temporarily at least, leaving you waiting or needing another option.
Precisely. It introduces a dependency. That buffer pool's liquidity level is key for the instant option to work.
Okay, so what's the backup plan? The request withdrawal? I assume that's more reliable, if slower.
That's the standard, more traditional path. When you hit request, StakeStone starts the process of pulling your share of the underlying ETH out of wherever it's staked or restaked in the vault.
Which takes time, obviously. Unstaking isn't instant.
Exactly. Depending on the protocols involved, unstaking can take hours, days. It varies. Once the actual ETH is unstaked and back with StakeStone, then it's sent to your wallet.
So request is the guaranteed route, but you trade speed for certainty. Instant is the express lane, but only if there's fuel in the tank. ETH in the pool.
That's a good way to put it. Two distinct options for different needs and risk tolerances regarding timing.
Right. Now let's talk price. There's a whole section on the price of stone. This seems fundamental. What's the main point there?
Super important, this bit. The documentation is very clear. The amount of ETH you get back when you withdraw stone isn't based on, say, the price on Uniswap or CoinGecko.
Oh, so not market price.
No. It's determined by the price calculated within the StakeStone smart contract itself. It's an internal price based on the total value of assets in the vault and the total supply of stone.
Okay, hold on. So the price I see on an exchange might be different from the price StakeStone uses when I deposit ETH or withdraw ETH.
Yes, exactly. The smart contract has its own calculation. This price is used when you deposit ETH to mint stone, and it's used when you withdraw stone to get ETH back.
So it aims for predictability within their system, regardless of external market swings.
That seems to be the goal. Predictable redemption based on the contract's current state, not external market sentiment reflected on DEX. They point towards their pricing section in the docs for the nitty-gritty details on how that calculation works.
Fascinating. Okay, let's try and pull the key threads together for everyone listening.
Sound good.
So StakeStone offers Stone, a liquid token representing staked ETH. That underlying ETH is working in a vault, potentially getting restaked for more yield, managed by this OPAP governance. And a big feature is that Stone is an OFT, built on layer 0, so you can move this yield-bearing asset across different blockchains much more easily.
Yep, cross-chain liquidity.
Then for getting ETH back, you have two choices. Instant, which is fast but depends on that buffer pool.
Right, the native PMM integration.
Or request, which is slower because it involves actual unstaking, but it's the more consistently available path.
The two withdrawal speeds, exactly.
And crucially, the value when you deposit or withdraw within StakeStone isn't the market price, but an internal price set by their smart contract. Offers internal predictability.
That internal pricing mechanism is key to how it functions.
Okay. So for you listening, hopefully that gives a clear review of StakeStone's approach to liquid staking, yield, and cross-chain movement. It leads to an interesting thought, though. Considering those withdrawal options, instant versus request, what things might make you choose one over the other? Speed versus certainty. And how does that internal smart contract pricing, separate from the open market, maybe change how you'd think about using a liquid staking token like Stone?
Good questions to ponder. Strategy definitely comes into play there.
Absolutely. We'd really encourage you to dig into the StakeStone docs further if this sparked your interest, especially the OPAP governance in that pricing section.
Definitely worth a closer look for the details.
It's really quite something to watch how these solutions for liquid staking and bridging keep evolving, trying to unlock new ways to use assets across the crypto space.